To the rules.
Good evening, and welcome to tonight's meeting of the Town of Babylon Zoning Board of Appeals. The following is the procedure that will be followed tonight. The matters will be called in the order they appear on the calendar, with adjourned matters being called at the end of the regularly scheduled matters. Matters cannot be heard prior to their published scheduled time. When your matter is called, please submit the affidavit of posting to the secretary and proceed to the podium and give your name and address. The chairperson will then swear you in and read into the record information we have from your application, comments from various town departments, and any correspondence received on your application. The chairperson will then ask you to make whatever presentation you wish to make to the board. After you have made your presentation, the board will ask whatever questions the board deems appropriate, and then we will ask for comments from the public. If you wish to speak for or against an application, we ask that you wait until you're acknowledged. Come forward, give us your name and address, tell us where your property is in relation to the property that's in question tonight, and then please direct your comments to the board, not the applicant or the applicant's representative. We have to keep a record, and we cannot do that if there are people talking over each other or cross conversations. If someone has spoken for or against an application, and they have said exactly the same thing that you wish to say, it will have the same force and effect in the record if you give your name and address, are sworn in, and say that you join in those comments. If you have anything additional to say, please don't hesitate to do so, but keep in mind that you will be given only one opportunity to speak. After the public has spoken, the board may ask the applicant to come back to answer any questions that may have come up as a result of the public comments, or for the applicant to summarize. When the applicant comes back to answer any additional questions, if that happens, that does not start a second round of public comments. Once the matter has been heard, various things may occur. The board may decide the application immediately. It may reserve decision. If the board reserves decision, that does not mean the matter is approved or denied. It just means that the board needs more time to decide, may want to go out and look at the site again, or might want to review the documents and testimony further before making a decision. In either event, the applicant will receive the board's decision in writing shortly after the board makes its decision. If the application is approved, that does not mean that you can then go ahead and start construction or whatever it is that you requested from the board. You will have to wait for the building permit to be obtained from the building department before your go-ahead. On some occasions, the matter may be continued for another night. If it is continued, in most cases it will be for the submission of documents, a new survey, new plans, or something of that nature. If that's the case, no one needs to come back on the new date. The documents will be submitted and no further testimony will be taken. On rare occasions, a matter may be continued for future testimony. If that's the case, then people would have to come back to testify. If matters are adjourned at an open meeting on the scheduled date of hearing, no further notice need be given unless specifically required by the board on the date the adjournment is granted. 3 rules that may affect your ability to proceed tonight. 1. If the sign was not posted for 10 days, we cannot hold the hearing tonight. 2. If you commence this proceeding while you own the property, but no longer own the property, and you are here now to continue with the application, you will need either the written consent of the new owner or the new owner to be present for the hearing. This situation could come about if you sold your house or building, money was held in escrow at closing for a certificate of occupancy or permit, and you're here tonight to clear that up. Lastly, if your application is a commercial application, and it's other than a renewal, and there is more than one tenant in the building, then you need your landlord to be here. Is there any applicant that has any difficulty with those situations and would need an adjournment tonight?
Is there anyone that would need an adjournment? Please rise and join the board in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we begin, there is one adjournment on tonight's agenda. It's application 22-152. Property is located in Jean Drive in North Babylon. Is anybody here on that application? That is being adjourned to next week, September 29th, 2022. First application tonight is application 22-146 of Veronica Romero, property located in Deer Park. We'll try that one again. Next application is application 22-151 of Jessica Jimenez, property located in Deer Park. Need your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Jessica Jimenez. My address is 88 Fillmore Avenue, Deer Park, 11729.
Sir.
Oh, Marcos Pimentel. My address is 88 Fillmore Avenue, Deer Park, New York, 11729.
Do you both affirm to tell the truth?
Yes.
Okay. For the record, we have a Planning Division memo dated September 15th, 2022. Environmental Control memo dated September 20th, 2022. If approved, this application will not result in significant impact. A survey by Michael Kolak dated July 16th, 2020. Tax map acting as an area map and...
Mr. Chairman, we have 11 photographs.
Okay. What would you like to tell us about the application?
I'm sorry?
What would you like to tell us about the application? I'm sorry.
Well, the only thing I just want to say is we bought this house 2020, and the previous owner flipped this house, which unfortunately he didn't get any permits for anything that he did, so we've been dealing with all the process of the permits. And through that process, we found out about the back entrance that, was not legal. So we're just trying to make it legal just to be in compliance with the codes of the town.
Okay, so this is, where's the survey? Cuts it off. So that cellar entrance is all the way in the back.
Correct.
That goes down to the basement. What's down the basement?
Nothing. Only
Just
the
a big
boiler.
open room?
Yeah.
Yep. Everything's been gutted out. It's just an open basement. It's just all it has is a boiler room and a
the
washing
laundry.
machine and a dryer. That's it.
So this didn't get picked up when you closed on the house?
No.
No.
Were you represented by counsel? When you closed
A
on the
law-
house, did you have a
a
lawyer?
lawyer.
Well, we had a lawyer,
At
but
the time, yes.
yeah, but I don't. They didn't say anything about that. They didn't mention anything. We did all the title search and everything. We actually had a violation, and we cleared that, and that's when everything
Else started popping up.
exactly.
So the planning department is asking for you to eliminate that cellar entrance. Is that possible?
I mean, if that's what we have to do, we'll do that. But that's
It's more of a convenience if we did have it.
Okay.
It'd be less money.
So what will you guys use in the basement?
In the I
It
mean,
would
we
just be
just
storage?
yeah.
well,
pretty
yes,
much,
it's
yeah.
storage, and sometimes we bring stuff from the back door, to the basement, kind of stuff.
Okay. Any other questions from the board? Would anyone like to be heard on this application? Come on.
Hi, I'm
Hey.
Faye Franklin, and my address is 97 Fillmore Avenue.
Okay. Would you affirm to tell the truth?
Absolutely.
Okay. What would you like to tell us?
I would like to find out if you requested for the family to close that back entrance. They're trying to do a side entrance. And I noticed in our community, I've been there 42 years, and we're seeing a change in the community. We're seeing people having illegal apartments. Parking is getting atrocious, and the noise level is off the hook. I understand we're all struggling, I got that. But when you turn around a single dwelling and make it into an apartment, I have a problem with that. Because I came in that community with single. There are other places that you can buy where you can get the income that you need. And they're young, and I'm not trying to hurt them at all, but I want to do things right based on the codes and the ordinance. My question is, will there be apartment in there? And who's going to regulate it? And then also, who's going to maintain the peace in the community?
Excuse me, who's going to do what?
Maintain the peace in the community, so where you can be able to park your car and not dealing with all the parties and stuff. I'm not saying they have parties. I'm not saying they obstruct my area, but once you start dealing with apartments, that brings problems. And that's all I'm saying for that. My request is, what's the purpose of the side entrance?
Your request, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. If you can't hear, I understand that. The real numbers are coming. My request is, what's the purpose of closing off the back entrance and then having a side entrance?
You're not seeking anything unless it doesn't need,
I'm sorry?
unless it doesn't need variance relief. That's not what this application's about. It's totally about closing off the back entrance.
Okay.
So I don't know. Okay. Right. Yeah, all right, we'll find out about that.
Okay, that's, and then also, how long after that's closed off, that back entrance, and then they use the side entrance? How long? Because if you look at the fence, if you look at their fence, it's an old fence, but if you look at to the left, that's a new fence. And then they seeking 40 inches back to 2 inches. Why?
2 feet.
2 feet, 2 feet, from 40 to 2.
That's for the rear entrance. Mm-hmm. That's what they would need. 40 feet is the code for the rear yard, and they only have 2 feet. Mm-hmm. So, you know, that's the variance that they seek tonight, mm-hmm, based on what is existing right now.
Okay, so from 40 to 2?
From 40 feet, which would be your rear yard, that's what the zone is in Residence B, that you'd need a 40-foot setback for the backyard. They currently only have a 2-foot because of the cellar entrance. The house is already short, obviously, because of that, you know, it's further back. But, you know, that's what they're seeking tonight. That's all they are seeking tonight from us.
Right. And then after that, will apartment be put in?
I'll find out.
Okay.
No basement apartments are allowed.
Absolutely, absolutely. I got that. I've been there 42 years. I know that. That's why I came into that community.
So there definitely will not be an apartment
Okay?
on that cellar entrance.
Okay.
You're welcome.
I
Name
am,
and address for the record?
yeah, name is Larry Franklin, 97 Fillmore Avenue, zip code 11729.
And do you affirm to tell the truth?
Absolutely.
Yeah, what would you like to tell us?
Just to reiterate what my wife is saying is that I think she missed a few things. In the community, like I said, we've been there close to 50 years. She said close to 50 years, okay? And we've seen the community change. Now, my thing is this. If you can't handle your house, you can't handle the ordinance, the taxes, then live somewhere where you can afford. What people are doing now into the neighborhood of that side of Deer Park is they're not able to afford the taxes, so they renting. What happens is when you rent, the rentees bring their people in, more cars impede on the property. Next thing you know, cars is on my property in front of my house where if I have a landscape, he can't do work because the neighbor down the block is having a big barbecue and they're inviting 50 people 50 people got 50 cars, and then is this impeding on the block? The block look like, I don't know, like we in Brooklyn. It's not, I can't even call it the suburbs anymore. I can't even call it that. So we trying to prevent that, and that's why we're here. We trying to prevent the fact that people are not realizing when you move into these towns, there's rules and regulations that have to be abided by, and they breaking them because of financial situations. And like I said, like my wife said, we're not here to make anybody's life miserable, but we're not also here for y'all to make our life miserable here. Because see, a rentee, he's not coming down to the town and cutting checks for 12, 13, and 14,000 a year. They're not doing that. And when they come in, they want to park on your property. We didn't have sprinkler system busted because they parking on top of my grass. They parking in front of your house. They disrespecting, they're arguing with you back and forth, and then they're not contributing anything to the town, nothing. They're just there because the house owner can't afford to be there. And that's just basically what it is. So we expect the town to do their job by at least coming through the neighborhood. Yes, we have to come in and say, okay, you know, like we're doing tonight, oh, this person is doing this. We got to be watchdogs. That person is doing that. That person is doing this. Come through and see. Cars, 3 and 4 cars, 5, 6, 8, 10 cars in front of a house. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. It's like a parking lot. You know, we can't, you know, we paying taxes here. We paying, and it's unfair to us. It's unfair to us. I have to argue with my neighbor to move your car because I can't get my sprinklers on, or I can't get my landscaper to cut the grass because your car's on top of my grass and y'all live up the block somewhere. So we have to be cognizant of what's going on in our town, and that's what you're here for, and that's why we come here. We don't fight against people. We don't want people hurt, but you have to abide by the rules of the town of Babylon, period. If you can't, then you have to pack up and go somewhere else. That's what I say. We've been here 42 years. We've been paying taxes for about 22 years now. And we've seen the block transform. Next thing you know, people doing 60 and 80 miles an hour up a street. That's ridiculous. So we need to come down and address that and make sure that you know what's going on. And you don't, I'm not saying you turn an eye, because you have to be informed, but we want to make sure that you know exactly what's going on in our neighborhoods. So,
Thank you. Would anyone else like to be heard on this application? Name and address for the record.
Kelly Bennett, 1257 Udall Road, Bay Shore, New York, 11706.
And you're here.
I'm just here to speak on behalf of Jessica here. These are actually clients of ours. We had done the plans for this project. They
But it's
did.
not your application, you're just here.
No, I'm just
Gotcha. Go ahead.
to speak on behalf in favor of. When they purchased the property, as she stated, they did inherit these issues from the prior owner. We went in and provided them the plans that they needed to clear the violations and make this application. So we did measure the whole house, obviously. So they've only been there going on 2 years in August. So as much as I do understand the concerns of perhaps the neighborhood and other issues, I don't feel that it's, you know, fair to apply that to them and to ask them to remove an original outside, you know, cellar entrance that was there prior to them purchasing the house when they're not seeking any, you know, and I think that the concerns are really more of a ordinance issue than a zoning issue. So I just wanted to speak on behalf of them in their favor.
God bless you. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So can I ask you guys to come back up? I'm sorry. Anybody else like to be heard on this application? For the record, there are none. So what is, God bless you, what is the plans for this basement. As Mr. Dellavecchia mentions, you can't have an apartment down there, it's illegal. So is there plans to do this?
Absolutely no. We have no plans to put
Anybody living downstairs.
Anybody living there. Maybe in the future, we are going to finish it, maybe in a...
We would like to submit an application later on to finish the basement so it could look a lot nicer than what it actually looks like. We have, so we can maybe hide some exposed piping, wiring, whatever that goes all through the house, only because we do have a young daughter. She's only one, she's gonna be 2 in November, so she's still a little young, but, you know, for the future, not for now, we definitely don't have any plans of moving anybody in the basement. So I don't, it was just already there, and it's just a convenience for us to have it than not to have it. And it will cost us more money to close the entrance than to rather leave it alone the way it is.
So what brings you here tonight? How did this come up now?
Well, we was sent a letter by the town saying that our rear entrance was illegal, so we had to file permits we had to file paperwork to get the permit to legalize the basement door.
So the way this came up is when I was doing the permits for all the renovations that the previous owner did in the house. They came and did an inspection. You know, we did the plans, and that's how, you know, everything came up, that that wasn't legal, the entrance in the back.
So talk to me about like the side entrance or side door. Is it a side
It's
entrance?
only there is a side door entrance, but it's to the kitchen of the first floor, and it's a ranch house. There is and then the entrance to the basement it's literally from the front door that you can see in the picture right in front of you. That door, when you open it, you're entering the first floor, and then right next to that door, there's a door that goes straight to the basement.
Yeah.
There is no other entrance besides the side door, which is on the left.
On the kitchen side.
Yeah, the left-hand side where the kitchen is at. That's it. And then in the rear. No, nothing. Nothing. Yeah, I mean, Google Earth should update that picture because the house looks nothing like that.
That looks so.
The house looks nothing like that.
Yeah.
That's always a problem.
Yeah.
That side entrance leads to your backyard?
Well, the side of the house.
On the side, yeah.
On the side. But
So
there
those
is
are the
no
only-
entrance to the backyard.
Those
We
are the
don't
only
have
2
one.
entrances?
No, we only have 2. We have, 3. We have the rear entrance in the back, we have the front door, and then we have the kitchen side entrance. Other than that, we don't have a backyard. We have 2 small side yards. That's it.
And there's no plans to do anything further than what is existing on those entrances?
Absolutely
No.
not.
Okay, any other questions from the board? Okay, we're going to close the hearing. We're going to reserve decision. You get the decision in the mail. Thanks for coming down. We appreciate your
Thank you.
comments.
All right, thank
and
you.
we'll take it into consideration. Somebody came in. What do you get? Veronica Romero, rather? Not you guys? No, okay. Next application is application 22-147 of Verena Ramirez, property located in Copac.
Good afternoon.
Name and address for the record.
My name is Juan Lopez, at 2470 Great Neck Road, Copac, New York.
Okay. And do you affirm to tell the truth?
Absolutely.
For the record, we have a Planning Division memo dated September 16th, 2022, Environmental Control memo dated September 20th, 2022. If approved, this application will not result in significant impact. A survey by William Simmons dated April 6, 2021, tax map acting as an area map, and
Mr. Chairman, we have 7 photographs and a scope of work by architect James Lerner. Don't see a date. 6/22/22.
okay. What would you like to tell us about the application?
Well, since I've been reading the memo from the town, and the questions that I see here is pretty much they want the husband of the lady. He's a sprinkle guy, and he used to get all his tools and everything in the basement. Now, after having a conversation with the town previously, they advised me to why just because the garage is in, and he was thinking about attach the garage to the house through a breezeway. So on the conversations, we came out with the idea just to move all the storage from the basement to the garage, and then, because that was the only way, and would be a better idea, because the lot coverage and all that stuff. So after several conversations, came out with the idea to build it like this.
Okay, I'll turn the hearing over to Mr. Dellavecchia.
So then what are the plans for the garage? Is that going to stay where it is?
The garage is going to be basically the storage for all his tools for the sprinkle. That's his job.
And the addition is just going to the west side of the house?
Yes.
And there is going to be a breezeway from the house to the garage?
No more, because that was the conversations with the town before submitting the application. That was more convenience to do it this way, to not incur into more lot coverage.
And then with the front of the house, are you guys just coming out to where it is existing now?
Yes.
So it's not going to be coming forward any more than where the front door is?
Well, the front door that is right now, that will be the front entrance for the whole entire floor, pretty much. There's no other entrance.
And then the basement, is that going to stay storage use only?
Well, now after we're talking, they want to put a pool table there. They want to have like some recreation area for them, and that's why they're moving. They're using now the garages for storage for all the tools for the sprinkle company that they have, and that's pretty much the idea.
But no bedrooms, no bathrooms in the basement?
No bedrooms, but they want a 3-piece bath that is already there.
And then I see on the planning memo, you guys applied for a permit for an accessory apartment?
That was because the application, because at the end of the day, it's going to be the kids. Actually, they all getting money for all the kids. They put in money to do this construction because they want to live with mom and the kids, the grandkids in the house. So according to the town, in order to have a second kitchen, they want to have an application for an accessory apartment, but at the end of the day, it's because the family wants to live there. They want to have a second kitchen for the kids.
Where's the second kitchen going?
Well, planning to have it in the second and second floor when they do the construction.
On the second floor?
Right.
Is there going to be an entrance to the second floor, or is just going to be the one entrance?
Just the one entrance, because it's going to be only one family. It's not going to be for.
Okay. I have no further questions.
Any other questions from the board? Would anyone like to be heard on this application? For the record, there are none. We're going to close the hearing. We're going to reserve decision. You'll get the decision.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Have a great night.
Check. Next application is application 22-149 of Michael Zimacek. Did I butcher that bad? Property located in West Babylon.
Good evening.
Name and address for the record.
Kelly Bennett, 1257 Udall Road, Bay Shore, New York, 11706.
Okay, and you affirm to tell the truth?
Yes, I do.
For the record, we have a Planning Division memo dated September 16th, 2022, Environmental Control memo dated September 20th, 2022. If approved, this application will not result in significant infill. Survey by CSE Construction Land Surveying dated June 10th, 2022. Tax map acting as an area map and... Okay, what would you like to tell us about the application?
Well, I'm here tonight on behalf of the property owner, who's also here with us. There was work started and a stop work order issued when he was starting the work without the benefit of a permit for personal reasons. It's the rear dormer that was framed out actually without a permit prior to the stop work order. However, we are proposing a full second-story dormer. So the only part of the work that was completed was that rear part of the dormer. So in applying for the proper permits, some illegal existing structures came up, one being a deck, hot tub, and shed. So we have reviewed the planning board comments. We are in full agreement to cut back the deck, the 2 feet, to keep that on the side yard and relocate the hot tub to a conforming location. The front yard variance, the request is 19 feet from the required 30. The 19 is for the proposed 5 foot by 5 foot 8 portico. So to the start of the dwelling is the 30 feet, 19 to the portico. And the one side yard request from 10 foot to 6.7, that is an existing side yard setback right now on the existing dwelling.
Thank you. Turn the hearing over to Ms. McCullough.
All right, so the main concern was the deck and
Yep.
the hot tub.
We'll take care of it.
Perfect. Do you know when the deck was built?
Michael, do you have any idea? 2 years ago.
And do we know the plans for the addition and on the house, on the home?
Yes, we submitted plans, preliminary, since we needed to come to the board this evening. So I have a set if you guys wanted to review it. You could keep these.
She has.
Okay.
Thank you. Yes, we are.
What was that? I'm
Delete
sorry.
variance number 3. We're going to delete variance number 3 because you're going to conform.
Yes, please.
Okay, perfect. Let me do it. All right. I'll make a motion to delete variance number 3 on application 22-149 regarding the diminishing the distance to the west side yard from 2 feet to 0 feet.
Second.
All in favor?
All right. I have no further questions.
Any other questions from the board? Would anyone like to be heard on this application? For the record, there are none.
I make a motion to approve application 22-149.
Second.
Okay.
With the hot tub being relocated to a conforming location and the deck being cut back 2 feet.
Second.
All in favor?
Thank you.
Amended. Next application is application 22-150 of Evelyn and Dominic Nappy, property located in Amityville.
Nicholas Capucci, C-A-P-P-U-C-C-I. Work with Todd O'Connell Architects, 1200 Veterans Highway, Suite 120, Hauppauge, New York. Good evening, Chairman, members of the board.
Do you
So I'm
affirm-
here,
Hold on. Do you affirm to tell the truth?
I do.
Okay. For the record, we have a planning division memo dated September 15th, 2022, environmental control memo dated September 20th, 2022. If approved, this application will not result in significant impact. A survey by Thomas Bremen dated 6/24/22. Second survey, which is showing two detached garage and the other upgrades, by Todd O'Connell,
Yeah, that should be a plot plan.
dated 5/23/22. Tax map acting as an area map. And
Chairman, 5 photos and a set of plans. Architect Todd O'Connell.
I also have, okay,
Found the date, May 25th, 2022.
okay. And I also have 8 letters in favor of the application from various residents. What would you like to tell us about the application?
So I'm here today with my client, Mr. Nappy is here today. We're just looking to do a one-story rear addition. The property that it's located on, the property is actually an undersized lot, so it's kicking us into a little more variant situations, and that's what we're requesting. So on the side yards, we're trying to keep and maintain the same footprint of the building as we go back with the rear addition. So then it yields us to a side yard of 4.5 feet, and then the aggregate side yard of 18.5 feet. And these are existing conditions. The house are like that already. We're just aligning them and extending it into the back. It's a one-story addition. You will not see it from the front, so the front curb appeal will look exactly the same. And then along with this is a rear detached garage that we are trying to propose. Right now, there's an existing garage, and we're looking to actually make it a little larger for a two-car garage for both him and his wife. The garage, we have offset at the proper offsets at 8 foot. We were keeping that just for fire code reasons and to have less requests in the variance. I know the planning board mentioned something about it being located in the middle of the yard. But again, we just kept it shifted over for the compliance to keep the code and the setbacks in compliance. And also fire rating reasons. We don't want to fire rate the garage. The addition, however, I will be fire rating the addition. That one sidewall with the 4.5 feet will be a fire rated wall for the new construction. So now we're getting back to the garage. The garage, we're requesting an 8-foot garage door instead of the 7-foot. I just want to submit for the record just some examples of vehicle and vehicle sizes. A passenger van as well as a cargo van or a Sprinter van are higher than 7 foot. And in order to park a van into the garage, we would need that 8 foot. So as you can see in the example, with some of the dimensions, one standard one is even 7 1/4. Even if you put a ladder or a ladder rack or some utility for work on top of the van, you just won't be able to pull into the garage door.
Those commercial, is it a commercial vehicle?
It would be a commercial to take him to and from work, but not commercial as commercial plates, or even if he has plates, it's just something he could take home and park into the garage.
So you're saying this typical cargo van, which doesn't look like it has a high roof, wouldn't fit?
No, those are your standard ones, and even at the standard one, you'll see it's at 7 1/4. And even a little larger extended one, you'll see it's at 7 3/4.
You're building a garage in a residential neighborhood for commercial use, kind of?
No, not at all. No. It's not commercial use, it's personal use. If anything, again, you take your car home or whatnot, you have it to put in. You don't want to
It's a commercial
keep it.
vehicle at the end of the day is what it is. Whether you're using it for transportation back and forth to work or not, it's a commercial vehicle.
That's saying that your vehicle that you drive here in the morning is a commercial vehicle too, you know, that's,
Does it have commercial plates?
no.
It doesn't have commercial plates? It
Dealer
has
plates.
dealer plates.
Well, again, it's more of the aspect of a car, using it for personal or even commercial use. Commercial, I'm thinking of more of retail and business and everything like that, which is not. This is a residential use, and you don't want to see that in the street, so you park it in the garage to get it out of the way.
You want to see it in the street because it's a commercial vehicle and it's not allowed to be parked in the street in a residential area.
Dealer plates lend to a business. Dealers have business.
Yeah, again, the whole intent is never to be a commercial vehicle for that or anything of the sort. It's all personal vehicle and personal use. But even a Sprinter van, as you can see in the Sprinter vans, or even a conversion or a cargo van or a conversion van that has the TV in it, where you take for camping or whatnot, you can't park that in a 7-foot garage door.
I think you're missing the point. The point is, it's a commercial vehicle in a residential area. And to grant the relief that you're asking for the bigger door is because it's a commercial vehicle, not a car.
No, no, but that's, I'm trying to argue that. It's not a commercial vehicle, what we're
Okay.
doing here.
Well,
Well, if it's got dealer plates on it, how did you acquire the deal? How did we get dealer plates?
Well,
You gotta have a business, don't you?
I can't speak for that, but yeah, I'm sure that there was that.
Commission a school bus, do I get to build a garage as big as a school bus?
I mean, we're talking about a personal van. Those cars that I'm showing you and those vans that I'm showing
it's
you
not a
there.
personal van, it's a commercial van, it's a work van.
But what I'm trying to state is even those vans that are used for personal or they can be used for commercial, one or the other they can be used for. It just is not an adequate height, a 7-foot garage door for that reason.
Okay. So, talk to me about why the garage has to be offset like that? Why can't it meet the existing concrete that's there, the existing driveway?
Well, the existing setbacks were about 4 feet off the property line, and required by code is an 8-foot setback, both rear and side on this zoning district. So we are here to just meet that, and we didn't have to ask for that extra variance request. We were asking for multiple variances requests, so we didn't want to go too far with the requests. And as well, again, for the fire code reasons.
Okay.
And then, so the other thing we'll bring us to is the building area. Again, like I said, the building, the house originally is on a 50-foot wide lot, and it's on an undersized lot. And as well, most of the floor area, building area that is being taken up is from a patio on grade. There's a patio on grade in the back, which is about 522 square feet that is being calculated in building area, which is putting us to that 37%. Now, if that patio essentially was not there, we would be somewhere around 29% with the FAR or the building area.
The addition, the one-story addition in the back, what's that going to be for?
It's just, as you can see on the plans that we submitted from our office, it's an extension of a bedroom that's there, as well as an additional laundry room and the kitchen that is going to be in the back that'll serve as.
Is there an existing kitchen?
Yes, the existing kitchen and is getting larger and wider. So we're going to add an island, more appliances, bigger countertop.
So it's still going to be one kitchen at the end of the day?
Correct, one kitchen. Existing kitchen altered to a larger kitchen.
Any other questions from the board? Would anyone like to be heard on this application? For the record, there are none. We're going to close the hearing. We're going to reserve decision. You get the decision in the mail. Thanks for
Thank
coming
you.
down. Next application is application 22-148 of Ralph Barrero, property located in North Babylon.
Good evening.
Name and address for the record, once again.
Kelly Bennett, 1257 Udall Road, Bayshore, New York, 11706.
And do you affirm to tell the truth?
Yes, I do.
For the record, we have a Planning Division memo dated September 15, 2022. A environmental control memo dated September 20th, 2022. If approved, this application will not result in significant impact. A survey by William Holgan dated December 1st, 2005. Tax map acting as an area map and 17 pictures. 17 pictures. What would you like to tell us about the application?
Well, I'm here tonight on behalf of Mr. Bavaro, and it has been, believe it or not, a dream of his for almost 3 decades to build himself a carport. The current property, it's located in Residential C. The property's impeccable. He has, permits and COs in place for almost everything. However, a few things did come up in applying for our proposed carport. So, in terms of the proposed work, it's going to be a front porch, so the roof line will continue, aesthetically nicely. So the front porch would be 6 foot by 26 feet. The carport itself would be 13 feet by 37. On the west side of the dwelling, we are proposing to keep a 5-foot side yard setback on that proposed carport side. Obviously, the original garage in the dwelling was previously CO'd and converted, so that's the reasoning, and as he's getting older, he's desperately wanting his carport before the winter. In applying for this, what had come up in terms of notice of illegal structures is that the existing CO'd shed, deck, and above-ground pool had been altered. So the shed was enlarged, and it's actually a very beautiful shed with kind of 2 columns and a bit of a roof over. It's at the very rear property line. The original pool was above ground, 14 by 25, and Mr. Bavaro replaced that with an 18-foot round semi-in-ground. So of course, then that did count toward our lot coverage. The pergola, I have photos in the specs. It's one of those Costco completely open kind of gazebos, and that pergola is located on a on-grade patio paver. So to get to the next variance item, which we are requesting increase in lot area and requesting 37%, which I know does sound like a very big ask. So just to break that down for you guys, if we were to take out the brick pavers or any structures that are on grade, even if we remove the gazebo, we're at 33.1. And if we were to remove the pergola, we would be at 31.5. So it really is that additional 325 square feet. If we take down the pergola, the brick paver patio is still there on grade, so it doesn't necessarily help us in getting any diminished lot coverage. So I hope that, and just to kind of comment on the character of the area, there are many houses I don't know if had the benefit of a zoning approval or permit, but across the street, property 626, and on the same side, 629 Interlake, and both have a very similar size carport. I don't believe they were with the benefit. That's what I prefaced it with that.
Thank you. Turn the hearing over to Mr. Shepherd.
Okay, have you had a chance to read the planning comments?
We did.
33.1 is a little bit better than 37.
Yeah. That's why I wanted to just explain, where that additional is kind of coming from. So the second he replaced with the semi-in-ground pool, it doesn't, it's, I think, 12 inches in. But as you guys know, that immediately counted toward lot coverage.
There's a lot going on this property.
There is. It's very well improved. It is a very large piece. I know back in the day there was some farmland and no fences, so that's why you find the shed so far to the rear line. Of course, if you see the pictures also, I tried to look at where we could kind of cut back. The deck around the pool has the pool equipment 2 steps up, and then it goes around the pool. Again, really beautiful railings and everything, so there wasn't really anything that we could offer in terms of a simple cutback. Waterfall?
It says on the survey. All the way in the back.
Not to my knowledge. Is there the brick retaining wall you mean? There's a block
There's a
wall.
brick retaining wall, but
Yeah,
there
there's
is
a block.
also...
Right in front of that, it says waterfall.
I didn't notice that. Let me take a look. I was actually just looking at that today, too. It does say, I'd have to confirm. Let me look at the pictures. If it's a waterfall, it's extremely unnoticeable. Let's see. Oh, yeah. It's like a little dolphin fountain.
So you realize that the carport can't be any further enclosed? You agree to
Yes,
that?
we would completely agree to that.
And the shed, should it be ever needed to be moved and put it in conformity?
Absolutely.
I don't think I have any further questions at this time, Mr. Chairman.
Any other questions from the board? Would anyone like to be heard on this application? For the record, there are none. We're going to close the hearing. We're going to reserve decision. You get the decision in the mail.
Thank you.
What today? Yeah, maybe we can get this one. Next application is 22-143 of Deer Park Podiatry, property located in North Babylon. Name and address for the record.
Hyojung Kim, 1428 Deer Park Avenue, North Babylon, New York, 11703.
And do you affirm to tell the truth?
Yes.
For the record, we have a Planning Division memo dated September 19th, 2022, Environmental Control memo dated September 20th, 2022. If approved, this application will not result in significant impact. Survey by Empire State Land Surveyors dated October 7th, 2021. Tax map acting as an area map and 6 photographs. What would you like to tell us about the application?
I was told to provide 6 photos, so I provide 6 photos. And we,
Thank you.
yeah, and the sign has existed since 1962, and we got, not us, but we bought this building last year, November, and the previous owner got 1-year approval because she was renewing in July 2021, and she knew that she's gonna sell the building. But previously, the building sign was permitted for 5 years. So I hope we can get another 5-year permit or more.
Okay. Turn the hearing over to Mr. Shepherd.
Have you read the planning comments?
Yes.
Is there a tenant in the building?
No, the sign was from the previous owner, but they have the occupancy, a certificate of occupancy, so I got the, the seal from the lawyer.
So it's only one.
Right now, yes. But we have the certificate of occupancy.
Are you planning on putting a second tenant in?
Yeah. Yeah. What?
You know that you'd have to legalize that.
It's legalized. Yeah.
I'm just telling you that if you put a second tenant in there, you're gonna have to make it legal. In the future, that's all, I'm just.
Okay. But I talked to lawyer today, and he told me that the building is already certificate of occupancy. So I got the.
Fine right now, I'm just telling you.
Okay.
And you just bought this a year ago?
Yeah, November 2021.
Is the podiatrist a tenant of yours?
Yes.
I don't think I have any further questions, Mr. Chairman.
Any other questions from the board? Would anyone like to be heard on this application? For the record, there are none. Yeah, why not?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve application 22143 for a period of 1 year.
All in favor? Thanks.
I have a question.
Sure.
Why it's 1 year? I was told that it was been 5 years every time.
It was 5 years under the old owner. You're a new owner. We want to make sure that you're going to, make sure that everything's taken care of properly at the site and stuff like that. So come back in a year and we'll talk, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Next application is application 22-130 of Stanley Gilpin, property located in Wyandanch.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. For the record, Nicole Blanda. I'm an attorney at Bazell, Blanda, and Visconti with offices at 535 Broad Hollow Road in Melville.
For the record, we have a Planning Division memo dated September 16, 2022. Environmental Control memo dated September 20th, 2022. There's a couple of things on here. You have a copy of that, right?
Yes.
Survey by Jason Lettingham dated April 12th, 2022. Tax map acting as an area map. And
Mr. Chairman, we have one photograph and a rendering. Let's see the name on
Is it from Spaces Architecture?
it. Dated 6/22.
new and approved.
Let me see the memo here.
Okay. Undated, no name, okay.
I can give the board another copy. I'm not sure why it has no name. That's strange. It's
If it has a
usually,
name, just give us the name, that's fine.
yeah,
To
it's
the rec-
Spaces Architecture.
Okay.
They're the architects. That's weird. There should be a title block on the right-hand side.
Yeah,
Yes, George Badger.
George Badger.
George Badger is the architect, yes.
Thank you.
Sorry, it's small.
Okay, would you like to tell us about the application?
The property is located on the east side of South 31st Street. It's about 100 feet north of Jamaica Avenue. It is a 50 by 100-foot parcel, meaning that it has 5,000 square feet. It is zoned Residence B, and it's presently vacant. As you can see on the aerial there, it's presently wooded and vacant. The applicant is seeking to construct a 2-story, 4-bedroom, single-family home with an internal garage on the property, and thus is seeking associated variances with that house. So we're seeking to reduce the lot area required from Residence B requirements, which is 10,000 square feet, to 5,000 square feet. Front width from 80 to 50, south side yard from 12 to 8, total side yard from 30 to 20, and we're seeking to increase the building area from 20% to 27%. This is all to construct a 2-story, 4-bedroom house, again with an internal garage, as you can see on the floor plans and the elevations that you have. Just to kind of give the board an idea of the character of the area, and also because I do understand that the board would be concerned with setting a precedent, I did look into the properties across the street. So if you do look at the radius map or the aerial that is behind you, I want to point out a few things. So to the north, tax lot 39, that is a 50 by 100-foot parcel with ZBA approval, albeit from 1999. And then across the street, across South 31st Street, tax lot 17, it's vacant, but interestingly, it's fenced in connection with tax lot 16, which fronts on Jamaica Avenue. I do have a photo to show. It does look like it's being used in conjunction with that lot. And the reason I bring that up is because I would assume that person would need to subdivide in order to attempt to develop that 50-foot tax lot. And it has been the policy of this board to not really be in favor of subdivisions that create 50-footers versus when we find vacant 50-foot parcels kind of standing on their own. In addition, that larger lot, 19.1, is 170 feet by 100 feet. Again, if an applicant came in to subdivide that and tried to do 50-footers, I don't believe that the board would be in favor of that. And it's very different than when someone comes in seeking to develop a vacant parcel that, as you can see, our property is sandwiched between 2 developed or 3 developed homes. So there's the house that fronts on Jamaica. So that homeowner's rear yard would be up against our proposed side yard. There's to the north, the other 50-footer that was approved. We're providing that homeowner with the larger side yard. That side yard would be 12 feet. And then there's the person who fronts on South 30th Street. again, their rear yard would be abutting our rear yard. So it does give some distance between homes. There are some other 50-footers in the 500-foot radius. I counted them. There's approximately, I believe, 13 other 50-foot parcels. Some of them have ZBA approval. I will hand those ZBA approvals up. The next closest ones are on the corner of South 29th Street and Jamaica, Lot 72 and 73. They both have ZBA approval. If we go down South 31st Street, down to tax lot 17 in 2014, that tax lot received ZBA approval for similar variances, 10,000 to 5,000, 80 to 50, and so on. So, I mean, I guess my point is, if you drive down these particular numbered streets, you will find 50-footers that have been developed with single-family homes, and we do agree to comply with all covenants, consent to all covenants, single-family, owner-occupied, no accessory apartment. I do think that the front of this house, if you look at the elevation, it is a little different than some other builders I represent. They are making it a little more interesting architecturally, and I think it would be a nice addition to the area. I will submit up the prior ZBA approvals from the area, and if you needed another copy of the floor plans, I have them, but it sounds like I think you have them. If we, well, so that's, we got to look at it two different ways, right? If we got rid of 340 square feet and tried to comply with building area, we'd have to probably lop off 5 feet of the house somewhere. So in other words, right now we're proposing a home that's, I believe, 40 by 30. So if we took 5 feet off the rear and shrunk it to a 30 by 35 foot house, that would eliminate a building area variance. And so you'd have a smaller house. We could narrow, I suppose, and yeah. But I don't think when you narrow the home, you get an attractive home, in my personal opinion. And there's an internal garage, so.
I don't understand, why is it so important to get the additional 5 feet?
Would you like an additional 350 square feet in your home? I'm not being facetious, but I think that's the idea.
What's the economics of that? Like, how much more can they sell that for?
I don't know. That, I don't know the answer to that. I wouldn't want to venture to guess. But certainly, if that was something the board wanted the applicant to look at, he'd be willing to do that.
No, I'm questioning, like, whether the zoning doesn't reflect the current market.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what's, you know, so these lots, as we would enforce them, don't yield houses that sell, or that house would sell, the smaller house. It just wouldn't sell for as much.
I think it depends. I've seen a 30 by 35 foot house here. I've been on them here recently, down the road on Jamaica Avenue. Did one recently for a builder, Dillip D. Oakley. Interestingly, the house to the north, back in '99, this was zoned Residence C. So at some point, this area was either upzoned or the zoning map is incorrect. It's odd. Not sure, but if you look at the 1999 approval, it says it was Residence C at that time, and that's the variances it got. Went from 75 to 50.
So that's the house right next door?
Right next door. I thought that was odd too, but I didn't have enough time. Does it? Okay, because the ZBA says Residence C. Okay, so they got this. They got similar variances then.
So I think that Mr. Bishop asked the question I was going to ask about the smaller house. So would you be willing to take a look at that?
If the board wants the applicant to look at amending the plans and proposing a smaller house to comply or at least get rid of the building area variance, he would be willing to do that.
Any other questions from the board? Okay. We're going to close the hearing. We're going to reserve decision. We'll keep the record open for
Okay.
correspondence in regards to the
Sure,
lot
so I could
coverage.
submit revised.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
All right.
No problem.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great night.
Sure.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Pamela Green, Office of the Town Attorney. Would the chairman like me to wait a moment for the members to reconvene or continue?
Where'd they go? I'm usually the guy who has to go to the bathroom. What happened here? Yeah, give him a minute, please. Oh, yeah, maybe.
Yes, it is.
Oh, yeah, it is. I just put it in the garage. Thought I got away with it.
Almost.
So what we can talk about while we're waiting is, so number one is a no-show. Can you get in contact with them for us, please?
I'm sure the zoning office will let them know that
Okay.
they were required to attend.
Okay. All right, let's go. I got to get out of here. Okay, I'll make a motion. We got 1, 2, 3, 4. We got enough. I'll make a motion to approve the extension of time on 18261A.
So, wait. No.
No, no?
No.
I can't?
No.
Why? Okay, go ahead.
No. So, no. Did the board want to revisit any of the prior applications?
Yeah, I know that, but I was just trying to, Okay. What do we want to talk about? Number 7? Is that the first one?
First one was number 2.
Number 2. Where the hell did number 2 go?
Number 2 is the
Yeah. Oh. Thank you. What the hell was that application?
2215. Motion to approve application 2215.
All in favor?
Did the board wish to impose any conditions, such as basement to be used for storage only, no living quarters?
Is that already the rule?
We went back to 2, now we're going to 7, I believe.
Okay.
So a condition, perhaps? Storage only?
Under the condition that the basement be storage only.
Second.
Thank you.
Noted in the code.
Is there redundancy? Is it knocked down?
Sometimes it's helpful to write it directly on the decision to reiterate what our codes are. The next one was be number 4. I think the news of the 3-piece bathroom was new, wasn't it? Was that new information?
The
Oh.
3-piece bathroom?
For the pool area, whatever they pool.
Yeah,
Oh, for the basement.
basement, yeah. That was on the plans, Kathy? The bathroom downstairs?
Was the kitchen, the second-story kitchen on the plans? Can we wait to see if they get approved for the accessory apartment permit before we move?
Without this. It's always a circumstance. Just,
Rock in a hard place.
It's a weird lot.
Yeah. With a lot.
How many bedrooms are they proposing altogether now? He's got a lot of commercial equipment in his driveway.
Does it?
Yeah. Stump grinder this, stump grinder that.
Send code enforcement out on that.
The first floor additions proposed for a new bedroom and a new bathroom. And above the side addition is proposed a new bedroom, bathroom, and study room on the second floor.
So the second floor would have 2 bedrooms?
No, it's a small, well, it's kind of weird, like Steve said, it's kind of weird lot. But, place enclosure on the wooden deck, brick patio. What do you think?
The board want to think about that for a week? Thought so. Moving on to the bottom of page 4. We have the 8-foot-high garage doors.
Oh, this guy. Yeah. Come on, he's trying to argue.
Because your car is too big?
Because your work car is too big. Where are we?
Those car washes, they have the bar going over it. 7 or 8?
But the other stuff is good.
Permission to minutes outside your.
Did the board want to wait for Mr. Party to come since it's in Amityville?
Yeah, let's do that. That sounds good.
The bill last week, we made the guy lower his garage.
Yeah, he's gonna lower that door. That's.
And then the next one
He
would,
became annoying.
the next one would be the top of page 5 with the carport.
7.
Yes.
The carport is his dream.
Okay.
Located in North Babylon.
I'm okay.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve application 22-148 with the condition that if the shed is ever taken down or replaced, it be put in a conforming location and the car part not be further enclosed.
In favor?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Was there any additional information the board wanted on the last application, number 9? With the undersized lot? Oh, I'm sorry, we're going to be looking for plans for a smaller home. Okay, which now brings us to page 7. So this is a request for the 5th extension of time of an application that was heard in 2018, or has a 2018 application number. The board approved in part and denied in part. So for Lot 1, the board already denied variances 3, 4, and 5. So in your correspondence is a memo from Katie advising that new plans have been received. I don't believe the board can now accept new plans for variances that have been denied that had findings written and adopted by this board. So it is the recommendation to have the applicant reapply to have a new hearing.
Long time.
So we'll be making that recommendation.
We need to make a motion or just, no?
If you
Okay.
would like to direct that,
Yeah, we'd like to have him, to reapply on these applications. Yeah.
thank you.
18-261A and B.
Thank you. Moving on to the remainder of the agenda, we'll go through it quickly. Page 8, 22-095 remains reserved, awaiting a date for both the sign and the variance applications to be heard together. Moving on to the next page, Patterson Brothers, Planning is still requesting a pre-site inspection, and we're still waiting to have that scheduled. Moving on. Moving on to page 10, Izette Celine, we're still waiting for new plans. Moving on to the bottom of page 10, Joanne McGinnis was contacted. She is pleading for more time from the board as she is in a financially difficult position and cannot afford to have the awning cut back at this time. Page 11 of the agenda is Central Irrigation Supply. We're also waiting for new plans on that. Moving on to page 12. We have application 22-125, 95 East Booker Corp., and there are two items in your correspondence. And number 4 is a memo from Rich Normile advising that revised plans were submitted that eliminated the proposed basement area. Item number 5 in your correspondence is a memo from Joe Gorino explaining he has reviewed those plans and the revisions have addressed their concerns. This property is located in Wyandanch if the board would now like to move with as amended.
Motion to approve application 22-125.
Planning memo? It's on the planning memo, right? Yeah, on the planning memo for application 22-125, the covenants and restrictions.
Second.
All in favor?
Thank you very much. Moving on to page 13. Both applications on page 13, Christine Sewell and Michael Abruzzo are waiting for new plans to address the second front door issue. Moving on to page 14, DPA Restoration Services. We're waiting for new plans to show outdoor storage. Moving on to the bottom of page 14. This was heard last week. It was the proposal for the oversized garage in Copeg. The neighbor is concerned it will block her water view, and Ms. Riley and I are reaching out to DPW to ask if it is even at all possible to have a curb cut within so many feet of an existing stop sign, as it was brought to our attention that there's a stop sign at that corner. So we would ask the board to continue to hold to find out that information. Moving on to page 15, we're asking the board to also continue to hold BOLA operating so there can be continued discussions over the proposed height of the sign. And finally, the bottom of page 15, the application is 22-142 Elite Prospect Training. I believe the board was holding this because there were outstanding fire marshal issues. During this week, council reached out to fire marshal. There's been much communication. They're in a bit of a difficult situation that they can't properly address all the fire marshal issues until they receive the variance and thus the building permit to now get in and do some of the work. I shared this with Mr. Correcchia, who chaired last week's meeting, and he was satisfied that they are taking every effort to address fire marshal issues. If the board would like to move, this would require a negative declaration. Property is located in Farmingdale.
I wasn't here, so.
So you would want to recuse?
Yes.
So if anyone else could remember that this was an application, it was heard at the end of the night for a place of amusement. You'll recall that there was new council that was trying to clean up a lapse in attention to the property. So,
Baseball.
yes.
I make a motion to adopt the negative declaration for application 22-142.
Favor?
And then I make a motion to approve application 22-142 for a period of 1 year.
All in favor?
Thank you.
Recuse?
Yes. Moving on to your correspondence page, you saw that your first was an email requesting an adjournment of application 22-152. The second was the memo from Ms. Riley regarding the extension of time request from the application of Richard Hubert. Then there were the letters from the neighbors of the application of Evelyn and Dominic Nappi. Finally, there was the memo from Mr. Normoyle, the memo from Mr. Guarino, which brings us to the carryover correspondence, asking the board to clarify their direction to council regarding application 22-121, Yihiri Vaca. The board will recall that this was the application with the complaints about the outside gazebo that had the barbecue in it. The board was shown that the applicant had signed a court stipulation stipulating that they would remove said gazebo. And the board's direction at the time was to refer to council the entire application for written findings. In preparing the findings and reviewing the file, we would just ask for clarification as there are 8 variances being requested. Not all of them were to be that onerous. So the first, for example, for the front yard setback from 30 to 23.7 for front porch, planning had no objection to the granting of that relief as stated in their planning memo. Number 7 and number 8 were amended to reflect that they were amending the dimensions from 2 feet to 10 inches and 2 feet to 8 inches, which were not out of line with other approvals in the past. So we would just ask planning to perhaps opine if they found the distance to rear lot line from 6 to 2.3 for the shed to be something that they would still object to. It was not mentioned in the planning memo. Again, the main objection seemed to be the gazebo, which housed the barbecue.
Okay, can I recall it?
Absolutely.
All right, I make a motion to recall application number 22-121. Second?
All in favor?
Thanks, guys. Okay, so we're fine with everything else except variance number 5. Yes. But with that, wouldn't number 3 change or no? To what we don't know. So number 3 and number 5, I should just not speak on?
You may need to recalculate then? Okay. Okay.
It was the gazebo, the pavers were for the gazebo, I thought. So the pavers would be amended to 10 inches and 8 inches.
That
and
happened
then-
already.
That did happen. Oh, okay.
So would you like to see number 3 recalculated to show
Yes.
the absence of the gazebo?
Yes.
Are we able to do that here, or do we need to ask the applicant to do that?
Well, she's saying we don't, the gazebo was fine. It was just the grill in the gazebo, I thought.
No, it was that whole
It
structure,
was the entire structure. Okay,
because it was quite large.
okay. It did. Got it.
Yeah, well, he's removing the gazebo, right? But he's leaving the pavers. That doesn't change the lot coverage, then we don't need a recalculation.
But we would need new plans to make sure that that's what they're doing.
We probably should ask him to submit a new plan.
Okay. I will do that. That brings us to accepting, you can move on now to accepting the minutes of September 8th.
Make a motion to, yeah, go ahead, Christine. Second.
All in favor?
And, Mr. Chairman, abstaining as well.
Yes, I'm abstaining.
For your review are the minutes of September 15th, are the minutes of September 15th, and that allows the board to adjourn the meeting.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Thank you.